Hey, what's up guys? So here is another counter fairy deck that I've made. I will go through the deck list first and then I'll show you the game I literally just played. Run through my thoughts on the deck and basically how it works. So essentially you're going to have a Morphing Jar, Flip Flop Frog, 3 Bountiful Artemis, 2 Meltiel Sage of Disguise, 2 Fossil Dyna, something something, 3 Guiding Ariadnes. This is like the bread and butter essentially. Minerva, Scholar of the Sky times 2, Raigeki times 1, Harpy's Feather Duster, 3 Cards of Demise, 3 Pots of Duality, 3 Pots of Extravagance, a Moon Mirror Shield, Sanctuary in the Sky, 2 Sanctum of the Parshath, 1 Torrential Tribute, 2 Storming Mirror Forces, 2 Solemn Judgement, 2 Warning, 3 Solemn Strikes, 3 Ultimate Providence, and 2 Solemn Wishes. So that's 44 cards currently. You could argue that you cut out Morphing Jar, Flip Flop Frog, and maybe 1 Card of Demise and Torrential Tribute, and then that would be a 40 card deck. So it's up to you, personal preference. I'm going with this number of cards and this ratio essentially. 14 monsters. So with this deck, you're gonna want this card allows you essentially to destroy a monster on the field if you have a Sanctuary in the Sky, which is what this and these 2 cards are for. Bountiful allows you to then draw a card when you activate a counter trap, and Minerva, Scholar of the Sky, gains attack every time you activate a counter trap. Also, if Sanctuary in the Sky is on the field, you can add one of those counter traps from your graveyard with a different name to your hand. So those 3 synchronize very well, obviously. They're kind of quite key. Guiding Ariadne, like I said, is bread and butter, so it allows you to negate the effects or not pay for life points to activate counter trap cards. So the hefty Solemn Judgement, Solemn Warning, Solemn Strike costs usually are negated. You don't have to pay for those. Also, that makes Ultimate Providence quite broken, so you can basically use it against a spell trap or monster effect for free without discarding anything, and destroy the card. So I ran 3 of those. You could run 2. Solemn Wishes, quite a forgotten card, I think. It essentially just if you don't find the Guiding Ariadnes, even with all of these card drawers, the 9 card drawers you have, you may not come across one if you're very unlucky, or maybe you get one. So you will be spending life points, and this is just to kind of boost them up with all of the card drawing effects that you do have in the deck. That's also why you have Morphing Jar, allows you to draw 5 cards if you need a fresh hand. Usually most of your hand will be on the field, and because you have counter traps, you can usually negate things like, if you have Solemn Judgement, you can negate the Harpy's Feather Duster, etc. Flip Flop Frog allows you to just return 1 monster to the hand and then flip it back face down. You could also use Penguin Soldier, but yeah, it's just an added extra. You don't need it in your deck. I like it. I'm trying it out. Yeah, so we're gonna go through the gameplay that we just had. I'm currently gold 5. Haven't played since I played like 3 games since the new patch. But yeah, as you can see, I was plat 5 last season. I've been away for Chinese New Year. Let's go through the gameplay. Sorry. Actually got no sound. That's awful. Can't play the game without sound. So yeah, use a Pot of Extravagance, get the card drawing flow in. Pot of Duality as well. Oh yeah, I didn't mention the extra deck. You just need any 15 cards to use your Pot of Extravagance, obviously. But you could prioritize light fairy cards if you wanted to. You're probably not going to use them. So yeah, put my traps down. Allows my Scholar of the Sky to gain some nice attack early on. Stop him from summoning anything bigger than that, essentially. That's just the thought process. Spent quite a few life points already, but we move. I think it's worth. I think it was necessary. I thought he was holding 2 pendulum monsters here, because he placed them in the corners, but he just had this fiendish chain to negate the effects of my monsters. I also can't attack, so I'm not gaining the damage. I lost my 1000 attack on my Scholar of the Sky. It's got Solemn Strike, his monster. Again, this is the thing, without Guiding Ariadne, I'm spending my life points, but I do have Solemn Wishes, so I should start gaining them back, or regaining them, as we go through the duel. It's humble beginnings, you know, no 500 here, 500 there, but see, it synchronizes quite well with the card drawing. For some reason, it doesn't activate, the Solemn Wishes doesn't activate on the Pot of Duality. I'm not sure why. I guess it's because I don't know if it's because you're selecting a card to pick up and not just picking up cards at random, but it didn't activate there. I'm not sure if that's a bug or that's how it's meant to interact with Pot of Duality. If that's the case, you could reduce Pot of Duality. Yeah, flip flop frog turns the target monster to the hand. You then have to tribute summon it back on, which is stalling essentially. Slowly gaining health. And now just sorting the cards in my graveyard that I want to bring back to my hand in the next 3 turns. So I think I opt for the Solemn Judgement first. Probably could have gone for a monster. But I didn't want him to summon. Yeah, Torrential Tribute. Since my monster couldn't attack, there was not really any point having it on the field. So I'm not going to tribute summon it, so might as well just clear the board. Sage of the Sky, slap that down. Now that I have that on the field, and I've also got my Sentry in the Sky, if I do activate Counter Trap, I can get some life points. There's a few ways to gain life points. Obviously to draw cards, and yeah, right now we're prospering. Solemn Judgment's the safest card to pick if you get a chance to draw from your deck. It's probably Solemn Judgement. Then if you do have Guiding Ariadne down on the field in the Pendulum zone, then Ultimate Providence also, or Solemn Strike. If you don't have 2 Solemn Judgments, you can use a Solemn Scolding, but obviously then you have to have one, and that can be the only face down, so you have to play around that, but it can negate basically anything. Keeping the Solemn Strike in my hand, just so I can use my Ultimate Providence if he activates the trap. What's the next card I draw? I can't remember. Is it my Minerva? Yeah, he sent Minerva back to the hand, but gain some life points, slap that back down. He activates that and I Ultimate Providence it, which actually gives me the damage. So he kind of got baited. It was good for me that that happened, because I could then gain enough damage to kill that monster, draw a card from my graveyard, and gain attack. But from this point, you can't really do much unless he does a lot in one turn. I'm gonna Solemn Judgment any big thing he tries to bring out, and that will also give me more damage. So unless he has a Harpy's Feather Duster and then also like 2 things to special summon, you're kind of stuck at that point. tried Magical Mallet, but it's the same number of cards, so it's not very useful. But yeah, that's the game. Fairly simple. Sage of the Sky and Minerva, Scholar of the Sky. Obviously very underrated, I think, personally. And they actually carried me. I didn't previously put so much respect on them, but they did their job. Gained the life points I needed, gained the damage I needed. Generally, this deck is quite weak in terms of attack power, obviously. But with the counter traps, this card can get quite strong. Unless there's a card effect on the field that basically just reduces your attack to the original attack, something like that. People ask why not the Air Knights, or what other cards could you use? And you could use Honest. I'm not using Honest in this deck because I've got a couple Earth monsters, couple like Water, and yeah, another Earth monster. So it doesn't help me as much as in the pure Fairy deck or pure light deck. So instead, I opted for the Moon Mirror Shield. Basically, this gives you plus 100 on any fight, and it's attack and defense, so I can actually have things in defense position if I really want to. Whereas Honest is only attack. Air Knight Arc, Air Knight, Sacred Arc, Air Knight, Parshath is another good card that synergizes with the counter trap. So you can banish it from the banish 2 fairies to essentially summon it from the graveyard or your hand. It does piercing damage and allows you to draw or add a Parshath card to your hand. So it's more of a Parshath deck. If you run that, you're probably going to run Air Knight Parshath. You're also going to run the Celestial and the counter trap, which is called, I can't remember the name right now. Something Parshath anyway. Let's see. You'd probably be running, yeah, Rebirth, the Parshath. But yeah, other cards. Splendid Venus is, I have to redo my filters. Splendid Venus, one thing as well, is nice. Activation of card effects essentially on your field cannot be negated. But again, it's 8-star, so you really need a way to reliably summon it. And same for the likes of Christia, very good nice effect, can stop special summoning. But these are more tailored towards using Valhalla, Hall of the Fallen, which means you can special summon any fairy monster basically if there's no other monster on your side of the field. Fina, inflict life point damage. Hecatrice can get you to Valhalla essentially. But yeah, that's the deck. 44 cards, like I said, you can drop down to 40 if you take a couple of the monsters out, these two, and also maybe a Torrential Tribute and a Ultimate Providence, or a Card of Demise. I'd probably say it's Card of Demise. That can go, one of those. But yeah, that's the deck. Let me know your thoughts. If you have any questions, let me know. And if you have any decks you want to see, or any cards you want to see used in any kind of counter or non-meta, probably won't be using any like Sky Strikers or anything. I'm not really interested in that, but to each their own. Fair play to you if that's what you enjoy. But yeah, that's the deck list at the moment, and I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and take care. See you next time.